Hi, this is Christian, and welcome back to the final regular season edition of NFL Updates Express, your weekly dose of NFL news, coming your way, Week 17 predictions. In the Spotlight Game of the Week, it's the Carolina Panthers taking on the Atlanta Falcons in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Now for the Panthers, they had a miracle finish against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in which a team the Panthers should have easily beaten. Well, it came down to the final minute when Cam Newton's heroics propelled the Panthers into a playoff berth. And if the Panthers would have lost, then this could have easily been a win-or-go-home situation and probably flexed to primetime. But with the Panthers narrowly getting the win against Tampa Bay, the Panthers are into the playoffs. Now for the Atlanta Falcons, on the other hand, if they don't win this game, they may be sitting at home for the postseason. The Seattle Seahawks have a pretty solid matchup against the Arizona Cardinals, in which the Seahawks should win that, unless they get upset, of course. So the Falcons, well, they need a big win against the Carolina Panthers team that beat them already once this season, but the benefit is the Falcons are playing at home with everything on the line. Now the Panthers, they're probably going to play their starters for the most part of the game, as the Panthers have an outside shot of getting the number 2 seed in the NFC, but most likely the Panthers will be a wild card unless the Saints somehow lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which you've seen last week. The Buccaneers certainly have some fight left in them. Now, who will win this game? Well, Atlanta has everything to be playing for, but I just think the Carolina Panthers are the better team, and I'm going to take the Panthers to get the job done in a narrow win. Dylan's prediction is the Carolina Panthers. In the second Spotlight Game of the week, it's the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to M&T Bank Stadium to take on the Baltimore Ravens. Now the Ravens, they didn't play great against the Colts, but they played good enough to win. And that's all that matters when they're fighting for a playoff spot. Now for the Ravens, it's a win and you're in the playoff situation. Now they could still make it if they lose, but it would just be a lot easier if they were able to handle their NFC North foe and get into the playoffs. Now the Bengals, they were playing bad the previous 2 games, but had an inspiring performance after knocking off the Detroit Lions, who were also in playoff contention until last week in Week 16. And so the Bengals have shown they have fight, and they will definitely have a lot of motivation to try to knock the Baltimore Ravens out of the postseason. But do I see them doing that? No, I don't. The Ravens' defense has just been playing too great right now, and Joe Flacco has started to catch fire, and I think the Ravens could be a dangerous postseason team if they're able to get in. And so who will win this game? Well, I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens to make it back to the postseason. Dylan's prediction is the Baltimore Ravens. In the next Spotlight Game of the week, it's the Arizona Cardinals traveling to CenturyLink Field to take on the Seattle Seahawks. Now the Seattle Seahawks, well, they're in a win-or-go-home situation for the playoffs at least when they defeated the Dallas Cowboys 21-12 at AT&T Stadium in Week 16. And now the Seahawks, well, they have another win and you could possibly be in. Now here's the deal with the Seahawks. If they win this game against the Arizona Cardinals at home, which they should do, and then they'll be hoping that the Carolina Panthers defeat the Atlanta Falcons. And if all that happens, well, the Seattle Seahawks are your number 6 seed and will either play the Saints or the Rams most likely in the 2017 playoffs in the wild card round. Now the Seahawks, well, they didn't look great against the Dallas Cowboys, but they look good enough to get the win, and who knows, they could make some damage in the postseason, maybe upset the Saints, then they get the Eagles who have been struggling, and who knows, they could wind up in the NFC Championship. But overall, I'll take the Seattle Seahawks to keep their postseason hopes alive. Dylan's prediction is the Seattle Seahawks. It's a big game in the AFC South Division when the Jacksonville Jaguars take on the Tennessee Titans. Now the Titans, they have everything to play for, and after a 3-game slide in which they've lost to some pretty inferior opponents, and the Cardinals and the 49ers, which they've been improved, but the Niners, still a team that the Titans should beat if they want to make the postseason. And then they had a pretty solid game against the Los Angeles Rams, but couldn't pull it out in the final minutes. And now they're looking at a win or go home situation most likely against the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that played them very well the first time. And then the second time, well, we're about to see that. Now the Jaguars, they don't really have much to play for here except beating and most likely kicking their division rival out of the playoffs, as the Jaguars are pretty much locked in at the number 3 seed in the AFC. And the Titans, well, this is it. I mean, they've been on a 3-game slide. It's embarrassing to finish the season on a 4-game slide when they were 8-4, and everyone saw them maybe as a potential team to get to the divisional round. And now they won't even make the postseason if they lose this game. Now, who will win this? Well, it's easy to pick Tennessee in a must-win game, but the way Jacksonville's defense is playing, even though they had a hiccup last week, I still think the Jaguars are the better team, even if they rest starters, and I'll take the Jags to get the job done on the road. Dylan's prediction is the Jacksonville Jaguars. For the player of the week, it's Dion Lewis, the running back for the New England Patriots. Now, Lewis had a great performance running 24 carries for 129 yards and a touchdown on the ground, also added one through the air, averaging over 5 yards a clip on the ground. And that was a very impressive performance against the Buffalo Bills team that had everything to play for. And well, the Patriots, they look like a Super Bowl contender again. And if they get their run game going, along with Tom Brady in the passing game, we could be seeing New England with back-to-back championships. For the Christian Screw Team of the Week, it's the Washington Redskins. Yeah, I know, they've been eliminated from the postseason for a while, but they're not lying down, and in Kirk Cousins, well, it could be his final game as a Redskin at home. Well, he came up big with almost 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and in a 27-11 win against the Broncos team that wasn't lying down either. So great job for the Redskins, the Team of the Week. For the AFC wildcard chase, well, it's a little bit more complicated than the NFC, but here we go. The Bills will need some help. They need to win, obviously, against the Miami Dolphins, and then they'll need the Chargers to lose and the Titans to lose, and then they'll be in. But if the Chargers win and the Titans win, then they're out. Or if the Titans win anyway and the Chargers lose, the Bills are still out. So they'll need a little help. The Ravens, they win and they're in. The Titans, they win and they're in. And the Chargers, well, if the Bills win, it doesn't matter because they beat them. So they'll hope for a Titans loss, and then the Chargers will be in. For the NFC wildcard chase, is it going to be the Seattle Seahawks or the Atlanta Falcons in the 6th seed in the NFC? Well, for the Seahawks, it's a little bit more complicated than the Falcons. They'll have to hope that the Panthers beat the Falcons in Week 17, and then they'll have to beat the Arizona Cardinals to make it to the postseason, and for the Falcons, well, it's a win-and-you're-in situation, or Seattle can lose to Arizona and they will still make it to the postseason. For the Week 16 recap, my record prediction was 14-2 and Dylan's was 11-5. My record prediction for the entire year is 156-84 and Dylan's is 140-100. That comes out to 65% for me and 58.3% for Dylan. The most entertaining game was the Jaguars and the 49ers, and the upset of the week was the Bengals over the Lions.